Pop Culture Pastor.
All right, Cody. Cody got a 3D printer.
And I'm geeking out with it.
Yeah, he's totally, all of a sudden, he's become like, he's like the 21st century of a wood whittler.
I am.
Yeah, I mean, he's just making all sorts of things. And then he's like, you know, even right before I hit the on button here, the live button, he's like picking away at this clump of thing. I can't even tell what it is. It looks like it's going to be some, is it a Lord of the Rings character?
Or so it kind of looks like a Lord of the Rings character, but it's from the video game Skyrim. It's the Daedric armor.
All I heard was, Sonny, you want me to whittle you something?
And I put a lot of supports around it, and I did not need all the supports.
Nobody knows what you're talking about, unless they have a 3D printer.
People with 3D printers do, and they'll be like, that was a rookie mistake. But it had moved so many times, I was not happy, so I went overkill.
I got to tell you, the only reason I'm interested in a 3D printer is that, to me, it's the first step of the replicator on Star Trek. So I just want to 3D print food.
So
that's edible and tastes like food.
I know that in like California and other places, they 3D print homes.
What? How does that even work?
They use concrete, but it's like several $1,000s cheaper, and it's more energy efficient.
So you can 3D print concrete into shapes.
Into homes, at least. And then I know scientists with like stem cells have been able to like 3D print organs and stuff.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Well, that's
so we're really close to the food.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, that's all I want. Like, you know, it's my dream to walk up to a replicator / computer and say, computer, I will take a burrito from Taco Casa circa 1986 from Topeka, Kansas. And then it'll spit me out that burrito. This will probably take some AI too. You'll need the 3D printing, the AI, but we're getting really, really close. And if I don't have a replicator, a food replicator before I die, what were we doing here, God? Like, God, what were we doing?
Vanities. It's all vanities.
There's nothing new under the sun. Welcome. This is Pop Culture Pastor here on KFEX Firescape Radio 93.1. It's a Friday, so on Friday, we're chill.
We are.
We try to do a little less talking, just a little lighter, a little airier.
Like
that was literally airier.
The flaky, buttery outer layer of a crescent roll or a croissant.
I don't know why you had to bring that up. Now I'm starving. Now all I can think of is a croissant. All right, welcome back. It's the Pop Culture Pastor Radio Show, and I am here with a special guest. I am here with Zauntee, and I've been told I'm saying that right.
You're saying it right. I appreciate you having me, man.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on the show. I'm not sure. Okay, so we'll just get this out of the way at the beginning, because there's like the title part. You're Zauntee, but are you a rapper? Yeah. Or are you a Christian rapper? Because I know some of the rappers out there, they're touchy about what they're labeled. So like some of them want to be like, well, I'm a Christian, but I'm a rapper. And then some of them are like, no, I'm a Christian rapper. It's okay. So what are you?
I'm a Christian rock star.
Yes.
Come on, bro.
Christian
it's
rock
that
star.
simple. No, I'm a rapper that's a Christian. I'm a Christian rapper. At the end of the day, all I know is you can read the T-shirt. We follow Jesus. It's that simple.
That's awesome.
So whatever you want to call me, I'm cool with it. I just want it to be known that I represent Jesus Christ, and I put his name in my music. And that's kind of the bottom line.
That's fantastic. So I guess what I want to do is allow you some time to just kind of, for my listeners, to briefly introduce yourself and, tell us who you are, how old you are. You seem young to me. But everyone under my age seems young these days. And where you're from, and tell us about your journey as a Christian hip hop rock star artist.
Yeah, I'm 24 years old. I'm from Tampa, Florida. I started doing music publicly in 2017, but I had been writing songs since age 10, producing since age 14. And it was always something that I was passionate about. I started to really make it a focus kind of senior year of high school because I had grown up in and around church. My parents were in ministry. I loved Jesus my whole life. But kind of during high school, you have that moment where you start to realize people treat you differently if you have standards, if you follow God. And I wanted to be accepted, and then I wanted to be respected. So I was moving around people that I shouldn't have been around, and I thank God because he protected me in those environments and, got me out of those situations when it could have been much worse. But I basically just wanted respect. I wanted to create a reputation. And what happened is my mom, who's usually very passionate, she found out how I'd been living, and she got really quiet, really calm. It scared me. And she was like, in 10 years, you won't know these people. You'll have Jesus to lean on when you're done with the act. But they don't have an answer, and you're watching them drown. And that woke me up. I was like, you know what? I have to be bold about Jesus because the reality is like when I'm living on my own for my own gain, I'm depressed. I hate life. So I'm going to take responsibility, and I'm going to represent Jesus to these people. And then in my personal life, I started seeing them come to me like, hey, I need prayer. Hey, I need God. And I got to experience like going from a background character to somebody who had a role. Like, I'm going to bring hope to these people. And I decided, you know what? I love music, and that's my passion. Let me see if I can put that message in this music and make music people want with a message that they need. And that was a goal. And I started doing that. And in 2017, put out my first song, God Taught Me. And it just kind of started working from that point on.
Yeah. I think people around here, we remember that song.
Yes, sir.
Like, that was a great song.
Thank
and so
you.
To come out of the gates like that, and you just seem like you have this, well, first of all, I'm not used to I'm a youth pastor in my day job. Sometimes, my other
Thank you, bro. You're
stuff.
on the front lines. I appreciate you giving the ministry to the kids.
Well, thank you. You have a maturity spiritually that you don't see at your age very often these days, I think, especially. And so it's impressive. What you just described there in a lot of ways is the gospel, how we're meant to, the mission of taking the gospel out. God put these passion and desires in your heart. He gave you the skills to be a rapper, to be a Christian hip hop guy, and you're using them to get around these people.
Yeah.
And that's, you just laid out the gospel there in that 2-minute thing.
Yeah.
How does your faith moving forward influence your music and the messages you want to convey in your songs?
Yeah, I say it at every show. You have stories only you can tell and gifts only you can give, and your survival is proof to someone else that they can make it. So I reiterate that every single time I touch a microphone because I believe, like, you're talking about the depth to the story that I'm telling. The reality is I had to walk through what I had to walk through. And then even afterwards, the hell that I've had to walk through in my personal life equips me to look somebody in the eyes and say, I understand. I know how you feel. And it's going to be okay. And God is the undeniable answer for your problem. I believe, like, in the same sense, everybody's story, that's the same. It's like if you've walked through something, it equips you to be a specialist. It equips you to help somebody else. So I try to make that evident in the music. And honestly, any opportunity that God gives, whether it's a stage, whether it's an interview, whether it's a conversation with somebody at the gas station, just letting them know, like, you're valuable as you are. Please don't let your pain be for no reason. Like, you walk through something. If you did walk through something, use that as, like, proof, like, I'm still here. Give somebody else the hope to keep going forward. And so I try to incorporate that as much as I can, especially live shows. Like you said, the hip hop stuff, sometimes you can reach people who wouldn't necessarily walk into a church.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to live out the gospel, trying to live out the Great Commission, where you use the music to earn trust. We're going to do that, any city that we go to. It's like, I'm going to use this music to earn trust. You're going to be able to hear it and be like, oh, this is dope. I like this. I would listen to this. And then as we've earned that trust, you understand the subject matter. It's like, look, well, I'm going to tell you about what changed my life. Because people can argue with, is God real or not? They can talk about all this different stuff, but they cannot argue with your story.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's the blood of the Lamb and the word of your testimony that has weight to it. It's like, you can tell me everything is this or that or the other, but you cannot argue with what I've been through. And if I'm telling you that I was lost, but now I'm found, I was dead, but now I'm alive. If I'm telling you that, hey, I was at the lowest and I saw this leap to a better life, and that answer was Jesus, you can't argue with that, even if you disagree. And that's what I try to present anytime I have an opportunity to.
Yeah. Can you share some insights into your creative process when it comes to writing and producing music? So you're clearly a guy who's motivated by your faith in Jesus Christ. Can you kind of let us in on your creative process when it comes to writing?
100%. I feel like it's gotten better over the years as I've learned that it's pretty simple. I think, I've narrowed it down to you live through something and that matters, right? If God allows you to walk through something, it's because somebody else needs hope from that situation. Even if it's celebratory, even if you're like excited about something that happened. So that's the first step. It's like, okay, what are my stories recently? I'm working on an album. If I'm working on an album, what are my recent stories? Wow, I feel really grateful for this win, and I feel grateful for this win, but I lost this person, or I walked through this heartache. Okay, cool. So these stories need to get into music while they're still relevant, and I still feel the emotion, and it's still part of who I am. Because I kind of look back at music anyways, and like I remember and reflect, like I was in this season when this song came out. So the story is the first step, and then the second step is just, now that I know what the stories are, God, what's your will? And I try to just like spend time in prayer and get out of the way, and just like that's my prayer before I go on stage or before I make a song. Holy Spirit, move me out of the way. Because the goal is like, okay, I got these stories. I know you let me live through them for a reason. So give me the best words to say, the best visuals to create, the best sound to produce for it to be communicated. Because there's a specific person for the one, right? We left the 99 for the one. There's somebody who needs this specific song. And I trust God. It kind of just all falls into place, bro. Like we'll be in the studio and it's just, you start hearing the melodies and it just falls into place. But it's because we know that all of it was intentional on the Lord's part. So I just trust him that if he let me walk through something and then he put me in a situation to write a song, he'll help sculpt it to sound like whoever his target audience is that he has in mind is going to need. Like if he knows that so-and-so, from Kansas is going to need this song, he's going to make it sound like that person is going to need, because all of it wouldn't be for nothing. And I try to do that, whether it's music videos, whether it's photo shoots, whether it's, creating the live set. It's just like, all right, God, you brought me this far. What do you want to do?
Yeah. You already kind of walked around this a little bit, and how your music is meant to draw this crowd to you.
Yeah.
And in this way, we use what we have in common. The world out there is such a place now where we tend to highlight what we don't have in common and then fight about it. But you're using what we have in common to supersede that, to get people around you. So you've kind of already talked about this. How do you hope that your music impacts and inspires your listeners specifically? Is it just about getting them close, or is there something about the music that you want to get inside your listeners' hearts and touch them in some way?
Yeah. I want them to live the revolution. Like I want to get to a point where like maybe this is the spark plug that like kind of ignites. Like I want the music to just be the catalyst. 90% of what should happen should be after the song is over in their lives. Like the music is just the Kickstarter for them to go out and live it. Because whether their platform is their family, their school system, their church, their workplace, their friend group, whatever it is, my heart is that. So for example, like they hear a song like Hard Work, God First, right? That song talks about like making the sacrifices to do whatever you're called to do to the best of your ability, and then glorify God with whatever you achieve. So live that. The song is basically giving you a blueprint that I've learned through experience, through testimony. And my hope is, somebody's going to hear that and then they're going to apply it. And that's why I started making music more like, I want, like with the prayer, I want this to reach the right people. Because I think sometimes you can kind of like, as a creative, you can get caught up in the numbers, and the temptation is, how do we make this for the biggest audience possible? How do we make this for, the most kind of agreeable song that everybody can like? And what I've learned is like, you can't go too corporate on it. You have to actually curate a sound and an idea that is specific, that's your gift, that you bring to the table authentically, because there's somebody who's looking for it and needs that specific sound, like I said earlier. So my hope is that somebody hears it and it's the caffeine, it's the, it's the energy drink or whatever. And it's just like, all right, cool. I love that song. I listen to it. It's a soundtrack for my life. Now I'm going to go live it out. And I try to make every single song with an element of that. If you listen to my discography, I don't, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think there's any song that doesn't have some kind of call to action. There's nothing that's neutral. All of them are like either affirming, like, hey, you matter and I'm proud of you. You're doing a great job. Or it's like worshiping God, like, thank you for everything you've done for me. Or it's like, hey, hard work up first, go live it. So I try to keep that in the vein of any music I release. And my hope is somebody else will hear it and feel motivated to go out and do it.
Yeah, this is great. I'm telling you right now, you're a youth pastor's dream right now. We're here with Christian hip hop, rap, rock superstar. I'm just going to keep adding to that
It's
if you don't mind.
Longer every time. I love it.
And we're going to have some fun in these questions here now. I always like to do this because here on this show, Pop Culture Pastor, we it's just like it says, I'm a pastor, but the weird thing about this is I was kind of raised on pop culture. People don't expect that. So I grew up on TV, movies, things like that. And so first off, I just want to ask, do you have like a fandom? Was there something geeky you grew up that you're into, something sci-fi, some comic books?
Yeah. There's a couple things. I'm trying not to go down the rabbit trail and take too long. Lord of the Rings is my favorite movie series of all times. Hobbits, Lord of the Rings, read the books, all that stuff. I know a lot about it. I also have been really into Star Wars until recently.
You fit right in on our pod.
Bro. The new stuff I don't think is canon. I think somebody is going to wake up and be like, that was a good dream. And then we pick up from the end of the, original trilogy. But like Clone Wars and stuff, bro. I've watched Clone Wars at least 3 times.
So you're excited for Ahsoka then?
Yeah.
Right. Because that's like a continuation of Rebels.
I'm praying that it's like, it's good and it keeps the same storytelling, bro. Because I think Clone Wars is one of, if not the best animated show that's ever existed. Yeah. And I got to show my siblings all that a little bit ago. So I would say, probably like Lord of the Rings would be my top thing that I've been into. And, Star Wars would be probably a close second. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I just love movies in general. I could tell you my top 5 movies, my top 3 series is like off rip. Like I love film.
Okay. Well, then this next question can be easy for you because you're a guy who's like clearly into nostalgia.
Oh yeah.
Clearly into the things that you've viewed and experienced and listened to.
100%.
And also you'd fit right in on our pod because you're throwing out terms like, canon and things like that. And honestly, we had a whole episode where we talked about this, where it seems like everything out there now is just fan fiction.
Yeah.
Where
that's a good way to put it.
But let's move on because it's not about us. It's about you. Here, I want to put you in a scenario here.
Okay.
You're hosting a dinner party.
Dinner party.
You can invite 3 musicians, dead or alive.
Dead or alive. Whoa.
Who are you inviting and why? Yeah, take all the time you need to think this one through. This is a hard one because I don't know. Yeah, I don't know anything about you. I don't know if you like grew up on rap. Like I grew up on rap, which always freaks people out because I'm a youth pastor now.
Yeah, I would say one of them is no longer with us, and then the other 2 are still here, and I hope that I'm going to meet them. Mm-hmm. I believe I will at some point. I would say Kanye West, Bono from U2.
Oh, wow.
And XXXTentacion, who was an underground rapper from Florida who passed away.
Yeah.
But the reason him is because he inspired me a lot. His live shows were crazy. Mm-hmm. And he was the first rapper I saw really talking about like mental health awareness and like helping people who were struggling with his music instead of just, kind of nonsense. And I think, too, I always had the heart like, bro, I really want to see that dude get saved because he's a leader.
Yeah.
But, he's the one who passed. But I would say Kanye and Bono are the 2 biggest inspirations from who I am as an artist.
Now explain Kanye.
Yeah.
Like, are you coming in as a friend? Are you coming in as like, I want to help him?
I think, no, I would definitely, so like, say for example, say it was just Bono and Ye, right? And, literally talking about, because I believe this is going to happen someday. Bono is a believer, right? And so he was one of the people who inspired me like, oh, you can reach a massive amount of people and still have areas where you don't compromise. And also his stage presence is crazy. I think I watched the Zoo TV tour, the live in Sydney where they had the whole thing filmed. I've watched that over and over and over. And just his stage presence and how he carries himself, the depth that he puts into the persona and the front man. Like for him, I'm gleaning, I'm learning, like, and honestly just trying to, you know, be in that environment where I'm like, bro, like teach me whatever you think I need to learn. I would love to work with him someday. I believe it's possible. I'm praying God to make it happen. With Ye, I think for me, I think College Dropout is probably my favorite album of all time, which is his first one.
Yeah.
It's incredible. It changed the face of hip hop. I think this is controversial. I think he's the greatest artist as a whole, as an artist.
Yeah, all around.
Since Michael Jackson.
Okay.
Because the influence, if you look at everything that we have today in music, everybody has been influenced or impacted by what he's done.
Yeah.
My heart, when I would, you know, have that moment with him, is to be that voice of truth, being spirit-led. Like, look, man, because I feel like he's been at the point where he has done so much that there's nobody who's in his corner who's not needing something or asking for something,
right,
or trying to take from him. And it's been destroying him. It's been, you know, like there's nobody I think that he can trust. And so if I had the opportunity in that sense, hypothetically, I would just try to be like somebody to be there. Hey, man, how can I pray for you? Just like, even though, of course, I'd be starstruck in my mind, that would be, how can I just, hey, man, like anything that we can pray about together, any way I can be there for you, and no asks, right?
Right.
So, because I feel like with the Donda thing, I went to the live show, and they were the first one. They were worshiping, bro. Like he was really, I feel like, in a place where he was close to the Lord. And then when everything started happening with his relationship, it was the whole world was after him, bro. And I think that he just started to fall apart. So I think he just needs somebody who he can trust and who's going to be there not to take something, but to give him hope. Yeah. And like I said way earlier, bro, literally this is my lens for everything. Just be Jesus and be authentic, and you know, then God will place you in scenarios where you can help somebody.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
I feel like that's what I would do in that scenario. I could talk about that for forever, because I truly believe, like, if you're an artist, you should be making the best music you can make, having the best live shows you can do, and have the intention that someday somebody in mainstream music is going to be like, oh, wow, this is Jesus? Man, I want more of that.
Yeah.
Like, we shouldn't limit ourselves to believe. This has been recent. I've had huge rappers who've been reposting my songs or DMing me saying they like it. UFC fighters following me, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I had to really change my expectations to be like, there are going to be celebrities who hear this. I have to be aware that, like, I might have an opportunity to bring Jesus to those people. Shoot, Paul stood before kings and emperors and stuff. So
yeah,
you got to be open to what God's going to do.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
And I like that question. So I take everything and make it super serious.
No, that's cool. Look, I've never done this before.
Yeah.
To someone I've interviewed on the program here like this, but I'm just going to go ahead and name you an official geek of the round table. That's that's our inner circle,
honored, bro.
Here at Pop Culture Pastor. And you are officially now a geek of the round table, because
knighted, man.
You
this
just like,
an honor.
Yeah, you just like laid out your credentials for everybody.
Let's go.
Like, so you're in. You're in.
Thank you.
I want to give you time. Like, what's your newest stuff out there, so you can like tell people, direct people where to go, how to listen to your stuff?
I would say it's at Zauntee on everything, right? Zauntee on all social media, all streaming, YouTube. Pay attention to that. Turn on notifications, because we have new music coming out soon, and we usually preview it and get people's reactions. Like, hey, what are you thinking about this? You want us to drop? I love including the fans and like making it interactive. Our newest song is called Hard Work God First. It just dropped. It's going crazy right now, and it's probably one of my favorite, if not favorite, songs to perform. It's just always electric when I'm live. Hard Work God First just dropped. There's an on-mic video of that, which is really fun. I went back and shot that at the place I used to deliver groceries when I was dreaming of being an artist, and we went and shot it in the parking lot. And cops pulled up, and they were like, I thought they were going to tell us that we needed to leave, and they were like, just checking on you, like, you're good to go. We kept shooting, so that just dropped. And then if you want to know when we're going to be in your city next, or when we're doing a show near you, or when we're dropping merch or dropping music, the best way to stay in touch is join our text community, which is 813-981-7750. And you can just text anything to 813-981-7750, and there will be an opt-in where then you'll get notified when we're near you, dropping merch, dropping music. Yeah. Like I said, it's Zauntee.com, Zauntee on all socials.
Well, my friend, you are impressive. You are
God,
impressive,
man.
young man,
God.
sir. I'm so glad I got to talk to you.
Me too.
Definitely, like you said, go find ways to follow him. Listen to his music. He mentioned God Taught Me. My favorite is Center Stage.
Oh, thank you, bro.
I love that song.
I appreciate
we
it.
played it a lot here on the radio.
Thank you.
So, I wish you blessings.
Thank you. Before we go, I have a question, man.
Yeah.
What's your favorite fantasy character of all time?
Of all time.
Of all time.
This is going to sound really lame. I was big into comic books, man.
Okay.
They were my companion. I was a lonely kid, only child, not many friends. I'm going to say Captain America.
Captain America. How do you feel about Marvel's, like, how they present him in the movies up until,
Great.
Endgame?
I've loved everything Marvel did up until Endgame was
I agree.
the best thing ever.
High five.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right,
Yeah.
man.
Hey, the world will know the God we follow. Thank y'all so
Yes.
much for having me, brother. I appreciate you.
So there was a movie I saw when I was a kid that really scared me. I don't know what it was back in the 80s, but the 80s are kind of defined by kids watching movies they probably shouldn't have been allowed to watch at a young age, especially scary movies. I don't know why in the 80s we were just so like, oh, everyone deserves to be scared.
Like the Babysitters Club.
Yes, frightening. Absolutely frightening. No, so I remember seeing Jaws when I was pretty young, which in hindsight, I'm sure my mother regretted because I'm pretty sure I didn't take a bath for, this is when I was very little. I'm pretty sure I didn't take a bath for weeks. And about the time my mom forced me in it, I'm pretty sure I was violent physically. Like, get me out of here. I was sure there was a shark in that bathtub. I didn't even like swimming for a long time.
Still doesn't.
No. Well, yeah. I mean, I could do without swimming. It's not the end all be all for me. I know it is for a lot of people, but when I think about like how much Jaws scared me, and I'm looking through news items, this one in particular is no. This one says to me like, yep, not swimming in the ocean. Apparently, there's a 12-foot, 4-inch long great white shark who's kind of hanging out off the coast of South Carolina. And it weighs nearly 1 ton. It's almost 1,200 pounds. And the reason they know this one is particular was around New Jersey last year because they tagged it, like they do, researchers. And so there's just this 1 ton great white shark just hanging out there. And I'm like, nope, not getting into any bodies of water.
I'm getting in all the bodies of water.
I just don't. And lakes are worse.
Oh, lakes are so much worse.
Because you can't see anything. And I'm like, how do I know there's not a Loch Ness great white shark in here?
Okay, so I'm not concerned about the animals. I'm more concerned about like the size of the lake and or pond. Because if water doesn't move enough, it grows like amoebas and stuff. And like if it goes into your brain.
You're afraid of the flesh-eating viruses.
Well, there's one that like attacks your brain and kills you.
Yeah. You got to snort it up your nose, though, on accident. But it can happen.
Oh, it can definitely happen. And it's like,
yeah, well, yeah, I guess that's my point is I'm kind of scared of, all right, I'm just going to say it. Hi, I'm Dave, and I'm frightened of swimming. And especially in lakes in around here. Because of that, what you just mentioned, also, I can't see that there's not a monster in it.
Yeah. And then, what's his name? Jason. That's how he met his demise. Another scary movie you should not have watched as a kid.
We could just interview Jason on the program. Like, yes, you just stay away from those lakes. They're very dangerous, and I should know.
And then they become cursed.
So the shark, the researchers, they tagged this shark. It was hanging out around New Jersey last year, which I believe is where Jaws takes place, right?
It does take place in New Jersey.
Yeah. So that's kind of, eerie, right?
And loosely based on a real life story.
Is it really? Oh, thanks. I'm now definitely never getting in the water.
There was like a summer in the 40s where there was like 2 or 3 like shark deaths in New Jersey.
No way. Ooh, that's super scary.
Not really based on a story, but based on like the concept of this happened.
So the article I'm looking at, it has a little video and it shows like the researcher swimming with the shark and it's like patting it on the back. And it's like, 4 times the size of this human being, which is ridiculous. Like, what are you doing? I don't understand these people. I will not go in the water. And this person is like looking for the shark to swim with it and hold on to its dorsal fin. I picked up my cat yesterday and it bit me on the knuckle. Like, you got a lot of trust.
Part of that, I think, is the type of people that do that are Steve Irwin-esque.
Yeah.
They just really love nature, the beauty of animals, and they know if you're calm, most likely the creature you're with will be more calm as well.
Most likely, but you can't predict it because it's an animal.
Yes.
Steve Irwin's a great example. Steve Irwin's also a great example of how we overuse the word tragedy. Mm-hmm. Because, look, I'll preface this with saying no disrespect. I love Steve Irwin. I loved watching him.
Are we going to be throwing hands after this?
We're not going to be throwing hands, but Steve Irwin's death was not a tragedy. Tragedy would say that that's unexpected.
It was unexpected.
It was not unexpected. He made a living hanging around dangerous animals.
I mean, I'm going to go down a rabbit hole that I probably shouldn't.
Come with me. I'm just saying, like, our English, our vocabulary is bad. If you want to say it's sad, then yes, it's sad.
Princess Diana got in a car every day of her life.
Okay. But that one qualifies for tragic because it was humans doing something stupid that caused it. The stupid thing being, we definitely need pictures of these celebrities.
I'm just saying, and for probably the previous 15 to 20 years of her life, the paparazzi had been out and about.
Yeah, they're crazy. Paparazzis. I don't understand that at all. Who's paying for these pictures? Who wants to see that? Oh, man, yeah, I just got to see those new pictures of Ben Affleck and J-Lo. I got to. It's so important to me. Like, who's paying? Why do these people get paid? Who's clamoring for that? It's everything's supply and demand. I know that. So where's the demand? Who's like, I just got to have pictures of Meghan Markle.
Evidently, you have not been to the checkout lines and perused the National Enquirer.
Okay, I have seen the National Enquirer. I'm just like, is anyone buying those? Because I've never seen anyone buy those.
I have not bought one, but I have definitely read through one while waiting in a long line.
Absolutely. But I've never seen anyone give any money actually. Basically what I'm saying is, and we started talking about sharks and now we're on the National Enquirer. It's like, I need to know does anyone out there know anybody that's like subscribed to the National Enquirer? Do they do subscriptions? Surely they do.
I think that you just have to go to your local grocery store or Walmart and purchase it.
Anyways, this shark, according to the research data, says it swam 15,000 miles in the last year. That's more steps than I took in the last year, I'm pretty sure.
Oof to both.
So I don't know what that has to do with the Enquirer or whatever. Sometimes we talk about things.
We do.
Hey everybody, Dave here. What you have just listened to are bits and pieces of our radio show. We have a radio show on KFEX Firescape Radio located in Chanute, Kansas. You can hear that show from noon to 4 every weekday. So if you want to tune into that, you can go to www.kfex931.com, or you can search KFEX in your app store on your smartphone and find their totally free app there. If you're a fan of Christian music, you might like to listen to our live show when you're at work, or if you're a stay-at-home mom and you like music in the house, you may love to listen to that during the day. So give it a try. We would also direct you to our podcast, Pop Culture Pastor. That's probably why you're listening anyways to this version of what we do. As always, subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on our social medias on Facebook and Twitter. It helps us out when you share it, when you review and rate us on our podcast homes. And of course, follow us on social media and share our stuff there. So thank you so much for listening. We love all of you guys so much. We have such a great community of listeners. And we'll see you when the regular pod drops on Friday.